song. We'll all be flying higher than a jet airliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along. Yeah, yeah, we're coming to your city. We're gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jet airliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, if you want a little zing in your zang zang, if you want a little ching in your chang chang, come along, come along, come along, come along. Yeah, we're coming to your city.
From Central High School in Woodstock, this is the first edition of CHSPN, the Central High School Programming Network. Today I'm Kyle Gutshaw as I'm joined by Logan Yo and Olivia Whiteman. Today we want to thank you for joining us as we take a look around the Valley for high school and college sports. We want to start with a look back to last Tuesday with a volleyball game with Central and Strasburg as the Falcons picked up their first win of the year, defeating the Rams with a stellar 3-1 victory. And volleyball Monday, Central took on George Mason and fell in a hard-fought battle with the Mustangs winning the game 3-0. And Logan, you have some stats for us?
Yes, sir. Ella Toothman led the Falcons with 5 kills, and Emily Funkhauser with 4 kills, 1 block, 4 service aces. Tonight, Central Volleyball is once again back in action, playing Manassas Park, as we will recap the match and more on next week's edition of CHSPN.
And now switching gears to Central football from Friday night, the Falcons with a dominant start and finish against the Broadway Gobblers. They coasted to a dominating 41-0 victory as Central led 14-0 before even touching the football. Defense led the way. Billy Ball returned a fumble for a touchdown, and then Dylan Hamrick for the Falcons returned an interception for a touchdown. After it was all said and done, the Falcons had recovered 6 turnovers and scored 3 defensive touchdowns. And now moving on to cross country, you look at the weekend as Central participated in the Eastern Mennonite Invitational and performed extremely well. The girls placed first and the guys were in second. With coverage is our sideline reporter, Olivia Whiteman.
I'm here with Coach Gerard. So Coach Gerard, how do you think our EMHS Invitational went this weekend?
The cross-country team did fabulous at the EMHS Invitational. Girls placed first. We had 5 girls in the top 20. Boys placed second, so definitely proud of everyone. The weather was perfect. Everyone ran great, and we could definitely tell that the hard work that you all have been putting in at practice showed.
And how do you think our future is going to look in the season?
I think the future looks great. You all have been improving with your times every meet. Your practice times have been improving when we do speed work, and so I think the future's looking good.
We are going to take a commercial break. We will see you in just a few. But for those who haven't ordered a yearbook yet, stay tuned for what's next.
And continue with cross country, Jasmine Martinez led the girls along with Jackie Cardoso, Olivia Whiteman, and Ashley Dodd. Cameron Baker also in there. And for the boys, the Falcons were led by Sean Purdy, Dylan Summit, and Jonathan Cardoso.
Now time to preview Friday night's much anticipated county rivalry football game between Central and Strasburg. Strasburg had a 35-13 win over East Hardy in week 1 and a 35-20 win over George Mason last week. Now a few major playmakers to talk about for the Rams. Starting off with quarterback Chase Hart, who is a Division I commit to William & Mary. He threw for 1,450 yards last year and 20 touchdowns in his second year as the Rams starter. His scrambling ability looks to have improved this year, so that's another aspect of his game to watch out for this week. Middle linebacker and fullback Daniil Holiday. He leads the Rams with 17 tackles thus far and also led the team with 82 tackles last year. Through the first 2 weeks, he has 21 carries, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He can also step out of the backfield on occasion, and that's one aspect that I think teams often forget to game plan for, and it ends up costing them. He has 3 receptions for 12 yards and a touchdown.
Thank you, Logan. And now for this week's game picks, and we'll send it over to Maria Marston for our picks.
I'm here with Coach Rona today. Thanks for being here with us today. We've got a few game picks to ask you about. First, starting with college football. We have number 3, Georgia, hosts number 7, Notre Dame. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with Georgia. 1, because Jake Fromm's aunt went to college with me at Presbyterian College, and I'm an SEC fan, so I'm going to go with Georgia.
Next up, we have number 13 Wisconsin plays number 11 Michigan.
I do like John Harbaugh because I like, or Jim Harbaugh because I like the Ravens, and John Harbaugh is his brother. But I'm going to go with Wisconsin and the Heisman Trophy candidate, Jonathan Taylor.
And then we have South Carolina at Missouri.
Well, I'm a Gamecock fan, and Ron Helinski, the freshman quarterback, looked pretty good last week, even though they lost to Alabama. So I'm going to go with South Carolina, beating Missouri and beating Clemson's old quarterback, Kelly Bryant.
And next up, we're moving to high school games. We're going to start with Spotswood hosting Monticello.
I like Spotswood in this. I don't know. I think that Dale Schiff of Spotswood's the I formation and the spread that they run, they're going to take over and win that game.
And then we have Millbrook at Kettle Run.
I like Millbrook. Coach Clayton lives in Strasburg, not too far from me, and I met him. He lives near one of my buddies, Ben Stein, so I'm going to go with Millbrook over Kettle Run.
And then now for the big game, Central versus Strasburg.
Well, I'm a Strasburg alum, and any other time I would pull for the Rams, but not on this occasion. I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Rams. I feel a big night out of the offense, and I think the defense is going to shut down Chase Hart and the Rams.
All right, thanks for being here with us today.
All right.
I don't know about Whittle's picks. Some seem pretty questionable, especially the South Carolina-Missouri game. I don't see the Gamecocks winning this week. I do see Kelly Bryant having a strong showing this weekend with Missouri pulling out the win. At least he got the Central Strasburg game right.
That's true. He could be a little biased, but I'm glad he picked Central. That's probably the right pick, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
Yeah, so at least Coach Whittle got that pick right. We thank him for being on this week's show. And as everything winds down this week, we want to thank you for joining us here in the first edition of CHSPN. And we want you to join us again next week for more sports in high school and college. Thank you.